So I live on the second floor. All of those boxes needed to be carried up, and those ones, and those ones, and those ones, and HelloFresh. So I have something to eat while I'm putting all this together. I didn't think this would come in so many boxes. All right, let's dive into how I organize this and how I set this up. This is the brand box coming out of Europe. It's a company based in Germany that ships worldwide. There's also a similar version. You've probably seen the Dream Box before from Create Room. They don't ship to Europe, which was one of my main decisions for deciding on the brand box instead of the Create Room one. And the other reason were these pull out areas here. I like the fact that these pull out towards me and they don't fold out to make this unit even wider than it is. I already don't have enough space width-wise for this box. It's very big, so I like the fact that this didn't take up any extra space. So let's go through how I set this up, how I decided to put things where, and my logic behind it. All right, taking a look, I have here all of my washi tape. It comes with like tons of these rods, I think 18 if I'm not mistaken. So I got plenty of use here out of that space for my washi tape. I also store my foam stamping tools here because I have no idea where to put those. And then coming down, I have my stamps, and I store these on the Stamp Market's plastic folders. I accidentally ordered the dividers, like the category dividers, instead of the stamp dividers, if that makes sense. So they're all in the middle of the tabs. They do have them where they're like left, center, right. So it makes things a little bit easier, but that's okay. So all of my stamps are on these pockets, and on the backs of them, I have anything that coordinates with them, be it a die or a stencil or a foil plate or whatever. And I have all of my sentiment stamps here. You'll notice several times throughout the box tour that I am a macro organizer, not a micro organizer. So for example, I have sentiments. I don't have them organized by birthday and love or whatever. I literally have this area, and that's it. So I don't really feel the need to really take the time to micro organize them. It also, I find when I start making smaller categories, I have difficulty keeping that organized. Moving down, I have my critters and people stamps. They're all in here, and backgrounds and scenes, that kind of stuff. I don't have a lot of those, so they're just all in here. And my holiday stamps are on the left. And down here, I have all of I even have one of them out of the folder right now, which is perfect. My 9x12 stamps, which are huge. These are from the Ton. They're the only company I think I know that makes stamps this large. So I have two folders here. So I have two folders here that hold all of those stamps. Okay, and it closes pretty easily. Sometimes my stamps fall out or get towards the side a little bit, and then it blocks the drawers from closing, but that's okay. I also wanted to point out that this slide out unit here, I have magnets on the back, so you can even use this space here. There are magnets that you can add onto your brand box, and you can hold all of your dies. So for these are all my standalone dies that are kind of just, one die in the set, mostly sentiments. And on the other side, I have standalones that are not sentiments. So my logic when it came to these is these are all customizable. You can easily take out the shelves. You don't need to have the plastic boxes the whole way up or anything. And I wanted to keep the things I use the least amount on the bottom and the top of this, and everything that I use the most in the center. So I have all of my charging cables and things like that in here, camera cables, all of that kind of stuff. I have my notebooks here, like for art journaling, as well as bullet journaling, and then this is just my notepad of ideas for videos. Here you can see I didn't use that plastic box. This is not something that comes with it, something I had already. And these are the Doris bead storage. So I have all of my sequins and beads and stuff in here for shaker cards. Going up, I have everything for die cutting, extra plates, and everything I need for you know, if you need to emboss with your die cutting machine or need extra plates for anything special, it's all in there, as well as shims. And here I have envelopes. I was raiding this stash before Christmas. They're usually in neat piles, but that's okay. And I'll usually keep stamps in here as well, since those kind of go together. Moving up, I have office supplies in here, tape, labels, label maker, that kind of stuff. I have a bunch of Distress Oxide sprays in this drawer. And you'll notice that some have labels and some don't, because some things I'm still toying with the idea of where they're going to be in the box. And before I make a label for them, I'm just gonna make sure that I'm happy with it. This is an area where I removed one of these shelves so I could get a little bit more space. I have my 6x6 paper pads in here, shimmer powders, and perfect pearls. They're kind of a similar product. And behind there, I actually have large bottles of things like gesso or bookbinding glue, that kind of stuff. All right, continuing on, and you'll see a reflection of a bike in the background. I have my embellishments. So this is a really handy thing that you can get extra as an add-on from Brand Box. It's like these little pockets for things like ephemera. I keep some twine in here. I actually keep my adhesive erasers, sandpaper erasers, normal erasers. I keep my easy lights in here. My little rings for creating little binders and albums, just anything that's small, you know, paper trimmer blades and X-Acto knife blades, that kind of stuff. I only have one of those just because I don't have a lot of ephemera and things. Here is my junk drawer, I like to call it. It's just full of cardstock that I could just pull out anytime for die cutting. They're just smaller sheets. I usually keep white and black and a bit of gold in here because all of my paper is kept elsewhere. Here I have all of my cards that I've either finished or they're half finished. Maybe they still need a sentiment or an actual card base attached to them. And heading up here, I have all of the things that are kind of like pastes. I have embossing paste, I have my transfer gel in here, I have Nouveau glacier paste, and then I have all of my Nouveau drops as well in here. Continuing upwards, I have my blending tools. These are all of my Tim Holtz blending tools, foams, extra foams, and then the handheld ones. This is just a very clever bottle. So these are just, you know, some spray to put on to make things permanent. So if it gets wet or anything, it won't do anything. I have liquid glaze, I have shaving cream, the shaving cream technique, that kind of stuff. And up here I have storage. Those are just storage pockets for stamp sets. Okay, here on this side, I have the same thing as the other side, except for I'm going into dies here. So I have all my alphabet dies, and I have all of my die sets here. Anything that comes with tons of pieces. I have them usually on magnets. This is a new one that needs to get some storage to put into a storage pocket. Down here, I have all of my cover plate dies, again, just in pockets, except for this one because it's a little bit bigger. And all of my layering dies are here. I keep my layering dies and I always put an example on the front so I know what this is going to make because I'll forget. Moving down here, I have all of my background stamps, whether they're clear or I have the rubber stamps. I don't even have these in pockets. I just have them there. I'm kind of a very realistic storage person. I don't try and get everything overcomplicated. I like to craft more than I like to organize. And then I have all of my floral stamps here. Down here, I have one of these rods again with some hooks, so I keep some scissors down here. And then I have one of these again for 9x12 stamp sets. And that just goes so easily in. All right, so coming down to these organizers here, I have all of my ink refills. So my ink refills I have here, and I have them numbered on the top with a permanent marker. So I have like I try to keep them in semi-order, like 1 to 15, but you know, they're just in the general vicinity usually. But I have here like 18, and the ink pad will be marked with 18. So when I notice an ink pad is dry, I just write it on the bottom of the ink pad and I can find the ink refill easily. Everything for watercoloring that I have is in here. I have the gum, I have paper, I have brushes, and I have my watercolor palette. This drawer is kind of like, it's a bit of an extra drawer. It's more of like what I'm working on at the moment. And so I was making little houses before Christmas. And so I have all of my pieces cut out here. I never finished them, unfortunately, before I left on holiday. Here are any sort of extra special paper that I have, like colored pencil paper, label paper. that kind of stuff. Here I have, again, adhesives that I can just grab and go. So I'll have some adhesive tapes, trying to just get rid of some of these things that I got as samples at the moment, foam squares, that kind of stuff. Another bit of a junk drawer I have here, embossing folders I have in here. I only have like 1 or 2 molds, so I kept those in here as well. These are extra shelves. And then I have my press and seal at the back there. So this is the gel press drawer. I have my gel press in here, a brayer, gel press stamps, any sort of stencils that are more the 12 by 12 size I have in here. And then my paints are right near my gel press as well, because that just makes sense. In this open area here, I actually have my wax seals in here, stamps, my heat tool, and my mink machine for the foiling. Continuing on, I have embossing powders in here. And then my big embossing powders in here, scrap paper that I maybe printed and made mistakes on to filter in the embossing powder back into the jars. Here I have my surfaces, so anything I might ink blend on top of. This is supposed to keep your stencils in place while you're blending. I have my make art station, that kind of stuff. Alcohol inks, I have my pipettes, my alcohol inks, alcohol lift ink, paper for alcohol ink, and some paper towel to dab it all up. Same here, I have some of my other brands of alcohol inks, isopropyl alcohol, my air blowing tool, you know, everything that you need. So if I want to use alcohol inks, I could just take it out and go. Here I have, again, a little bit of a junk drawer. This is all surfaces that aren't cardstock. So I have little pieces of wood, I have chipboard, and then up here I just have a binder full of foils that I would use with my laminator or my mink. All right, and I put the table up just so I can show you underneath the brand box. So when I'm sitting down to craft, I try to think if I'm going to need anything out of here first. These are the things I use probably least often aside from my stencils, just because if I'm crafting and I need something from under here, I have to crawl under the table, and that's not ideal. So I keep everything in here where it's kind of like, if I'm going to use it, I have something particular in mind. So I have my Brother Scan and Cut, my Cricut machine, my laminator, my heavy duty paper machine or paper trimmer, my printer. I have my normal manual die cutting machine that I don't use too often. I'll only use that really when I'm hot foiling. My Technique resource binder, if you've taken my class, that's there. I have extra Concord and 9th inks in those towers, a massive adhesive thing that doesn't fit anywhere. My stencils, and then in these I have, you can see all of my little foams for the blending tools, labeled by color. This is how the desk opens. It doesn't have desk legs like the one from Create Room. It has these, and I love it. It can hold the table up to 40 kilos, so about 88 pounds, roughly 85 pounds, something like that. And it just comes down like this and sits on top of those. All right, so this is my work surface. A quick note though, it is very deep table. So if I'm sitting and crafting, I can't reach the things at the back. So what I usually do is when I put the table down, I'll pull everything a little bit forward. So here I have 2 ink organizers from Organize More. It was important for me to order this unit with a little bit more space from here to here so that I could have my ink organizers from before in here. My Catherine Pooler inks, and behind them I have the Tim Holtz inks. I keep my camera up here, extra Tim Holtz inks in the tin. I have my black ink pad for easy access and my stamp press tool thingy. I have a small paper trimmer here, my die cutting plates, Copic markers, and my electronic die cutting machine, or my electric one, and my Cricut mats are hanging there on a hook. Coming up here, I have, you can see here the LED light, very, very easy to turn on and off. I'll turn those off for now so you don't get any glare. Up here, I have my Distress Oxide. It's actually empty right now. It did hold my sprays, but I outgrew the box. So I'm kind of debating about what to put in that one. I have some of my bigger tools here on the side too, Stencils 360, and I have this one from Sizzix that's a stencil and stamp sort of press. And then I have everything here for adhesive, like all of my refills, things that, you know, are really large, like the rolls and things like that. Here I have everything I need for hot foiling. So I have my foil and my hot foil machine. In here is my hot foil machine, all the plates I need, as well as all of my Glimmer hot foil plates. I keep them just all in one box. So if I'm gonna hot foil, I grab these 2 boxes and I'm good to go. Up at the top, I keep my Misties, and then here in the center, I have pens. So I have like my white Posca pens here, I have my Cricut pens here, bullet journaling pens. I have, I have archival ink pads, the mini ones in there. And then I have all of my iron-ons and vinyl in here. And then it comes with 2 drawers that are really normally easy to pull out, but I clearly have something stuck in there. But these are all of my tools I use on a regular basis. Glue, it's messy. I never said I was clean when it comes to this. I have glue bottles in here, palette knives, bone folders, scissors, that kind of stuff. And in this one, I normally have my pencil crayons, but I have, or my colored pencils. We say pencil crayons in Canada. But I have them at school at the moment because I was teaching a coloring class to my students. So that is the brand box in a nutshell. So I tried to keep everything that I was going to use on a regular basis within arm's reach, and I absolutely love this thing. So I'm going to turn the camera around now and just chat a little bit about the pros and cons of this box, my experience with ordering it, and what you should consider if you consider investing in something like this, because it's an expensive one and definitely an investment. So probably the thing you're most curious about is, do I like the box? What are the pros and cons? Would I recommend it? Okay, so first of all, I would only recommend a box like this if your current space really isn't working for you at all, or you need to be able to close up your space, especially if you live in something like a small apartment. This is a really great option. Pros and cons. So first of all, definitely measure. Take a look at the measurements on the website and measure and make sure your space works. So you'll see that this one here is a bit of at an angle and this one here is flat. Like I can actually fold it completely out. And because this is a bit of an angle, I can't push it to the back because I have stuff behind there. You can see that the drawer doesn't pop out. So it is really important to measure. It's a bit of an awkward size box. It's about 3 feet deep and 3 feet wide, or 4 feet even. So it's a really big box and it's very deep. So just make sure that it's right for your space as far as what that entails, if it's even going to fit. And like I said, you do need quite a bit of space to open up the box completely. You can also craft technically by having these completely up against the desk here. Again, you just won't have access to a drawer or two, but oftentimes I'll craft like that because I want to be able to, I'm being like lazy and I want to be able to grab. I can grab from where I'm sitting, but I have to reach a bit more versus when I have it kind of more towards me. But then I don't have access to about 3 drawers because of the desk and the table here. Overall, I find the table to be big enough for what I need. I can fit, my die cutting machine and my hot foil machine and still have space for stuff without any issues. I'm very happy with the unit here. So one of the cons, like I said, is the size of it, but it's also one of the pros because it fit everything in this box aside from my paper, which I could have fit in here, but I just have a different unit for that I really love. So overall, I'm super happy with the brand box. I'm very satisfied with my experience with the brand box. I like the options, the ability to customize things. The add-ons are super cool. You can decorate it, like I said, you can decorate your boxes if you don't like to look at your stuff. You can take out shelves if you want to put in other sorts of storage, that kind of thing. But the price is definitely something that you need to consider. Do I think that this is an unrealistic price for something like this? Absolutely not. With the price of wood these days, as well as the design of this, how well it's built. It's not like an IKEA piece of furniture where all of a sudden you need to insert a screw and the hole isn't in the spot where it should be. Like, it's so well made, so well put together. The hinges, everything super high quality because it's got to hold a lot of weight. And overall, this is like an investment piece that you buy once and it's going to last you your lifetime. There's a significant guarantee. I want to say it's 5 years, maybe it's 3. I have to check the website. And they really stand by their product. And yeah, so it is upwards of around 2,500 euros, plus add-ons and things like that. So it isn't definitely the cheapest option for sure. But as I said, I was pretty desperate, and I do this also as a job, not my only job, but a job. And so, yeah, for me, it was worth it. It's definitely worth it. I love crafting in here. It forces me to put things away because my unit's pretty full.
So I'm not able to like stash an embossing powder here and there, and it's just so easy. Everything has its home. Everything really works well when I'm crafting. So I'm very, very satisfied with it. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tour of my brand box. I know lots of you have been asking for it because it's been in the background of my videos for some time now. And I wanted to really just use it for several months. So I got it in October, beginning of October. I just wanted to make sure that I liked it before I did a review video on it and a walkthrough of how I organized everything. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my little tour in my Nook, and now you know what's in the background of all of my videos. Now, if you want to check out any past craft tours of mine when I had my own space, or maybe I was working in an even smaller space than this, I have several videos here in a playlist on organization. If you want to check those out, there's tons of ideas, so I'll meet you over there.